Hey folks, in this video I'm going to show you a bit of an addendum, I guess you might say, to my last video, which is after you've driven through all of that snow and got stuck a few times, what does the underside of your car look like? So let's have a look, shall we? So the first thing I noticed, and it was no surprise, at the end of the day, some of that stuff on my roads, you know, after they've plowed, you know, the snow turns to ice, and then those pretty big chunks you can do some pretty good damage with. Now, only to plastic, and in this thing, as you'll all, if you've ever been under your car, you know that this is the service trapdoor. So even that, like, that's pretty hefty. So this thing clearly got bumped. You know, it hit something clearly through all that heavy blizzard snow, and it bent, well, it knocked the, you know, the pieces off, the attachments, and then clearly it bent this down, and driving it even that little bit, you can see the damage that it did. So I'm not terribly worried about this. I mean, I take this thing off every time I do an oil change. And yes, clearly there'll be an aerodynamic aspect to this, because cars, unlike my S2000 over there, which has nothing underneath it practically, aerodynamics under this car, especially a plug-in hybrid, is a bit key. So I'm not terribly worried. I'll bash it out straight with a hammer, and I have all the little pieces that I took off, all the little fasteners, of course. So I'm not terribly worried about it. It looks terrible now, but it's tin, and you know, the insulation is still on this side, which is frankly for, I think it's for sound deadening personally, but it's in okay shape. So I'll be able to fix this and then put it back on. But what's a little more concerning, again, none of this is serious, but look at what happened under here as I climb under. So this plastic piece, let me zoom in there if I can. Sorry, it takes a little bit of effort here. So I'm now lying down. Oops, two hands. So you can see there, and you can see there how it's clearly come apart, spread, and leaves a nice big open space there. So much so that up here by the back engine mount, there was quite a good chunk of snow under there. It was like I was, oh, maybe the light just quit. It's like I was a Zamboni. Here we go. There, got my better light now. So this is all part of the plastic under tray, and of course the service door goes here, because right under there is the oil filter. So, yeah, this isn't, I mean, it's not something to be terribly stressed about, but obviously in this car it is important. And also, it sounds pretty terrible as it drags along the snow, because you can see that portion right about there got pretty low. So, I'm of the mind here right now that I'm not actually going to remove the entire thing, because it comes all the way up to here, and it's a pretty big chunk. And obviously it's already toast, so really what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to at least somewhat elegantly cut these pieces off so that it doesn't drag. And then there will be a point where I will, when I repair the trapdoor, I will also order a new chunk of plastic, and then when I have this thing further in the air, then I'll do that, because it even comes right up to the front here. You can see, like, here's where the bumper is, so just so you kind of get a sense. It's already right here, and it's one big piece. It goes over to the edge here, obviously the same side on this side, connects all the way back. You know, I'm tapping along here. So I really don't want to wrestle with all that, those little fasteners, and get more snow dumped on me. So I'm going to trim that, and then I'm clearly going to get online and see what I can do. I'm sure it's more money than I'm really happy to have to spend, but this is also, at the end of the day, a snow blizzard that, you know, is, like I said in my last video, we got 26% of our snow in one day. So it's not really something that happens all the time. So anyway, I'm going to fix that, and we'll see how that goes. Well, as always, when you're fighting with something under a car with not a lot of space, it's a bit of a challenge. But what I ended up doing was, I have a heat gun, and I just used some branch clippers, actually, because the heat gun heated up the plastic really nice, and then you just kind of snip and pull, and off the stuff came. So no, again, totally not ideal, but good enough for now. Until the snow goes away, then I can get a new plastic piece for underneath. So let's show you what it looks like underneath, so we know that it's at least not totally terrible. All right, so where are we here? So yeah, clearly this is where it would go. You saw the pieces that were hanging down there. You can still see the remnants of them, but at least nothing's hanging down like to within a few inches of the ground, because that was what the problem was. And it was dragging and actually gathering up even more snow. So again, that's the back, the motor mount. That's the subframe, so that's not going to go anywhere. I mean, you'd have to really hit something hard for that to make get any damage at all. And between a steel subframe or an aluminum subframe and even a big chunk of ice, the steel's going to win. So I'm not too worried about that. And as I say, for aerodynamic sake, I will put another piece there in the spring. Excuse me. But what I do notice there is farther back right there, that's the catalytic converter. Now my car does not have a piece of plastic covering that, obviously, because that would get especially hot and melt. So, you know, is this really for aerodynamics? Yes, every bit helps, but given that that's hanging out kind of in the wind there, I'm not really too concerned. So I'll keep my eye on my range, of course, as always, but I really don't think, excuse me, this will be a major factor in range reduction. But anyway, that's that, folks. I hope you're all doing well. Talk to you soon.